My parents want me to give the baby up for adoption, but the idea of pregnancy and giving birth and then giving it away feels unbearable. I'm 16 years old. I got pregnant by somebody I work with. He's 18 and is about to graduate high school. He's planning to join the military after he graduates. He's not my boyfriend. We were never in a relationship like that. I mean, I wish he was, but he doesn't seem interested in that. We're friends. He flirts with me. I lost my virginity to him. He didn't force me or anything like that. I've had sex with him multiple times. I'm 15 weeks pregnant now. Everyone knows. Well, not everyone, because I'm still hiding it from a lot of people, but he knows, and my parents know. I'm embarrassed by it. I feel like an idiot, like a joke, like trash. I just wish I could hide until after the baby's born. I want to never leave my house. My parents are basically forcing me to give the baby up for adoption. I live in a state with heavy abortion restrictions. It's way too late to even get one now. Now, my parents don't believe in abortion either. They told me this is my punishment for getting pregnant, that I deserve to have to deal with being pregnant now. They've decided that I'm giving the baby away and have already set up a meeting with an adoption agency. They say they won't let me ruin my life with a baby, and they aren't going to raise my baby either. So this is the only other option. My mom keeps saying, "You'll thank us later." I didn't get pregnant on purpose. I don't really want to be a mom right now. I turned 17 over the summer and will only be starting my junior year next year. At the same time, going through pregnancy and giving birth just to give my baby away terrifies me. I don't know if I can live with it. It literally makes me feel like I want to throw up or pass out. I feel like I have no choice but to go along with what my parents want. It's not like I could support myself, let alone me and a baby. I could never just do it on my own. I was too scared to get an abortion earlier on before I told my parents I was pregnant. I was so scared that I'd get in trouble, but now I realize that probably would have been the easiest thing for me. If anyone reading this has given a baby up for adoption and survived it, please let me know what it was like. Do you get over it? Do you really end up feeling like it's the best thing for them, and you're able to just live with it? Regarding my thoughts on raising the baby by myself, I know it's not really possible. I'm not suggesting that I raise a baby by myself. I would need a lot of help, which is also not possible for me given how my parents feel about it. So, at the end of the day, sure, it's my choice, but I'm sort of cornered into only being able to make one choice. As for the father, he knows I'm pregnant, and he knows my parents are essentially forcing adoption. I think he's relieved that they've decided this and are going to force me into it. I think he feels bad, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be a parent, so he says stuff like, "Yeah, that's probably the best thing." Regarding whether my parents are choosing to take a legal road against the father, I'm in the US. He just turned 18 in April. They don't really want to involve him. I thought they'd confront him in person, demand to speak to his parents, and stuff like that. They didn't react like that at all. I mean, they're mad at him, and they blame him for this too, but they want to keep him removed from it all, probably so nobody will interfere with what they've decided the plan is. I don't know. Update, June 24th, 2024. 5 weeks later. I'm 20 weeks pregnant now, and will turn 17 within the next few weeks. My parents are still forcing me to give my baby up for adoption. We've met with an adoption agency. The adoption counselor knows that I don't want to do adoption. She asked to speak with me privately without my parents present to ask me a series of questions. I was honest and told her I didn't want to give my baby away, but I had no other choice. She seems to feel bad about it and told me that I will ultimately have to sign the papers after the baby is born. My parents cannot sign the papers. Unfortunately, without my parents' help, I have no other options. The adoption counselor talked to us about the option of my parents adopting my baby, which I don't really want either. No worries, my parents aren't interested in raising another baby. My parents want me to look at the potential families. I'm trying to look at them. It's so weird thinking that I'm looking at parents for my own baby. I know I'm not ready to be a mom, but it's still so weird. None of this feels like it's happening to me. I've talked to the baby's father. He graduated high school and goes off to basic training later this summer. I think he'd be fine with adoption. He said he doesn't really know what other options we have. We could get married since the military would at least help pay for a place to live, and we'd have medical benefits. But I can't get married without parental consent. We don't love each other. What kind of marriage would that be? But it seems like the only realistic solution. I hate the idea of being married at 17 years old and to a person who doesn't genuinely want to be married to me. So then another option, which still involves marriage, might be for his parents to help out, even take care of the baby, and let me see him or her until I'm 18 and don't need my parents' permission to get married. That doesn't really seem fair to them. He could try to object to an adoption, but it's not guaranteed that his wishes would be respected. Plus, then what happens to the baby? His parents appear to be decent individuals. I'm not very familiar with them, but I've had the chance to meet them. They're concerned about how this situation will affect their son's future, but they've expressed to my parents that they believe the decision should be ours. They feel that their role as parents is to support us. On the other hand, my parents have stated that their responsibility is to safeguard me. They believe that I will bear all the consequences and that my life will be the one that's disrupted. There was a meeting between our families to discuss the situation, but it was essentially my parents dictating what was going to happen, asserting that their son and they had no input in the matter. Regarding the ideal adoption situation I would like to see happening for the child, I don't have an ideal adoption situation right now because I still can't accept adoption. But probably two gay guys. It's the women in these couples I look at that seem more fake than the men for the most part. Again, I know this sounds terrible to say. Something about a lot of the women is just really rubbing me the wrong way. Maybe two lesbians, because the few lesbian couples I've seen at least seem more genuine than the straight women. Well, in some cases. The gay couples could have their own biological children, even if the children didn't share both parents' DNA, but I'm just more drawn to those couples, and the profiles I've seen just seem more genuine. But yes, it feels like nobody is good enough for my baby. I acknowledge that it might not seem rational if you've never been in the position of having to look at families, all complete strangers, to give your baby to. You probably can't fully understand. I'm allowed to be picky. This could be the biggest, most important decision in my entire life, and this is the only part of the whole adoption thing I actually have much of a say in. I'm only 20 weeks pregnant, not 38. There's no rule stating I have to have a family picked out yet. Some people take longer picking out a new car to buy. It's not as if adoption was a choice I came to on my own and even feel positive about. So yeah, looking at potential adoptive families is going to give me some feelings. As I stated, it's not a matter of thinking I can or cannot provide a better life. It's a totally bizarre and heartbreaking thing to do, to read through the profiles of families to give your baby to. And there are a ton of families. Update 2. July 1st, 2024. My parents are forcing me to give my baby up for adoption update. Having a boy. I don't know why I'm suddenly getting a ton of responses on my post from a week ago, but I figured I'd post an update because a few things have changed. I had an ultrasound on Friday and found out I'm having a baby boy. He's basically fully formed and just needs to get bigger now. I saw his head and his nose, and they even got a picture of the bottom of his 2 feet together because he was sort of sideways at first, and we had to get him to move. It looked sort of like footprints. I could clearly see his little hands and everything. So, I already said it in my previous post, but people are still sending my info about abortion. I know those people are trying to help, and I wish I had maybe reached out here when I first found out I was pregnant since I didn't know I could get pills mailed to my house. I just can't get an abortion now. It's a fully formed baby. I even named him. It won't solve my problem at this point because my biggest problem with adoption is how I'm going to live with it mentally for the rest of my life. Now that I know it's a baby moving around in there and stuff, I think I would also not mentally be able to handle an abortion now. If it was still just a lump of cells, I'd feel different, but I was too scared to do anything then. I want to keep my baby. I don't want anyone else to have him. This is my baby. I don't think I can survive handing him over to somebody else. It's not fair. I know I made a mistake, and I shouldn't have had sex. I shouldn't have sat there doing nothing when I could have got an abortion and saved myself all this suffering and still had my parents love and accept me since they'd never have to know. They called me a slut. I have barely any privacy anymore. What do they think I'm going to do? After the ultrasound, I sent the baby's father the picture. He wasn't there. My parents don't want him or his family involved now, probably because I told them he offered to marry me, and they yelled at me for even considering that. I told him I can't give the baby away and asked if his parents were really serious about helping and if he'd hate me for keeping it. He said he won't hate me. I still think he'll blame me for ruining his life. He already told me he thinks adoption is the best choice. If we got married and he got caught cheating on me, even if I was okay with it, he could get in a lot of trouble. He said, "Why would I cheat on you?" He said he likes me. He wouldn't have sex with me if he didn't like me. He just didn't see the point in us being in a relationship since he was leaving anyway. It was just easier that way. The thing is, I know I'm not the only girl he's been with during that time. I'm not stupid enough to think I'm special to him or he loves me, and we both know it's sort of ridiculous to imagine us being married or acting like adults. But I guess that's what you have to do if you have a baby. I can't really imagine being a wife, but maybe it wouldn't be too bad, and I'd get to move away from my parents. He said it's really weird to think about, but I have very few options, and he doesn't know what else he's supposed to offer. But he's going to talk to his parents since I'm too shy too. I guess I'm assuming they were just saying it to be nice, but are probably happy my parents are making me do the adoption. He says his parents aren't like that. I'm really just an inconvenience to everyone. And if I keep my baby, he might end up not liking me too. I don't want to screw up my baby's life. I would do everything I could to be a good mom. I would grow up and learn how to be a wife and mom and an adult. I can't imagine living after giving my baby to somebody else. Also, if you're looking to adopt a baby, please do not message me here. Many people already have, and I just delete those messages if it's creepy. If I do put my son up for adoption, it will not be to somebody I met through Reddit. I'm sorry, it's just very creepy to be messaged by adults here who want to adopt my baby. A relevant comment. I have 2 teenage daughters. One is already on birth control. She's nowhere near ready to have sex, but we talked a lot as she came up through puberty. I told her I hope she will always feel comfortable talking to me about anything. But we both agree that teen pregnancy is wrong in every aspect of what she wants to do with her life. We agreed, she and I, that she would start birth control at a certain age so that she can always have protection. We also agreed because this means she can choose whether or not to tell me when she becomes sexually active, and she doesn't have to have the fear of pregnancy be the deciding factor. My younger daughter is nowhere near ready to have sex and is nowhere near comfortable having these conversations yet, but we will have this conversation when she's ready. I've always said teenagers should be put on birth control. If they aren't responsible enough to take a pill, there are other options. In an ideal world, kids who aren't even done with high school would wait to have sex. Since we don't live in an ideal world, birth control is a good second choice. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.